I'm Kevin Kirksey, and this is how you sell without selling out. Roger's that.
I'm Rogers Healy, and welcome to Rogers That, a podcast dedicated to selling without selling out. Today we have someone who is, I just told him he's universally loved. There's a lot of people that are universally liked, but Kevin Kirksey is universally loved. Whenever you hear his name, people light up. And they're like, oh my gosh, Kevin, he's such a nice guy. He's so selfless, and he's so loved. And that's true. Today we have him on here on his 40th birthday, which is just the epitome of Kevin. He's so giving. I saw him yesterday at his birthday party, which was just a celebration of 40 years of goodness with family and friends. Everyone there to celebrate somebody that just really gives everybody everything. He's a connector. He's a wizard. He's a finance guy. He is an athlete. He is a father. He's a Christian. He's a husband. He does it all, and he finds time to do it even when there is no time. And today we're going to talk about the story of Kevin and how he's such a successful just at everything. He's successful at everything. He's the president ALM First Analytics, and he brings energy and heart to everything that he does. Kevin and I connected through the world of YPO, which he has been such a magnet for. And he's been such a great help to people like me that didn't really understand what it was and has since changed my life. He's a husband, a father, investor, like I said, and also happens to be his birthday, like I mentioned as well. So without further ado, this is my friend Kevin Kirksey. Kevin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the gift of your time, as always, Rogers.
Yeah. I'd like to start off by zooming in a little bit on the sides of your head. It looks as though you woke up this morning with a little bit of gray hair. Is that a weird way to enter 40?
No, I've had gray hair starting my early 30s.
Okay, so we're going to take a serious approach. We just learned 40 becomes with being serious. So Kevin, you're 40 years old today. So maybe give us from 0 to 40, the high level as to who is Kevin Kirksey.
Absolutely. I started out life on third base with a family that really loved me. My mom stayed at home, and she invested a lot of time in me. And I think that psychologically set me up for the way that I was going to try and raise my boys. I watched my father be a dedicated husband to my mother. And I tried to figure out what was the best way to keep sacred time so that I could have that type of relationship with my family, but still have impact in the world of philanthropy, still have a career, still make meaningful relationships and connect with people at genuine levels.
Well, you made the baseball reference initially. We got to talk about baseball too. You know, that was a subliminal ask. Like you had such just idyllic childhood with great parents that love you and that are still around you, just loving on him at his birthday party yesterday. But let's talk about baseball. Was that your first love?
It was. And I think some of that came from my father. He won a national championship at Arizona. And so my room was filled with baseball memorabilia growing up. And it was a true passion that I had. And I think that psychologically, being a pitcher, it influenced a lot of things later in my life, such as when you give up a home run, you still, unless you get yanked, you still have to come at the next batter, that next pitch. And so you really have to focus in on being present and being in the moment.
So was John Rocker your favorite pitcher? Who was your favorite pitcher as a kid?
So it may not surprise you, but Mariano Rivera was my favorite baseball player of all time.
Wow.
His calm, cool demeanor, his consistency. And I think that is something that really stands with me in life, is that he showed up every single ninth inning ready to throw that cutter 9 times.
God, but even though John Rocker was a terrible human, he had the greatest walk-up ever during that 1 or 2 seasons that he was a legend. So Mariano Rivera, I watched a video on him the other day. You ever seen the video of him where his baseball glove as a kid was a piece of cardboard?
Yes.
Dude, what a great story. And so you fell in love with that, and you fell in love with being a leader. And even as a pitcher, it's like maybe being a drummer in a band. It was being a pitcher, you know, you set the tone, but it's not all about you. Is that kind of how your life kind of started on the field?
Absolutely. Life's never been all about me. It's been about my teammates. It's been about family. It's been about my communities that I'm a part of and doing my part to serve them. People talk about servant leadership. Well, what does that really mean? To me, it's entirely about taking time like this where we're genuinely connecting. We're looking each other in the eye. We're being present, and we're getting into deep talk.
Can I ask you a loaded question? This is like off the questions. Is it hard for you to say no?
It used to be. And I think that when you're originally starting out in life and you're trying to connect with a lot of different folks from different communities and you're looking to build influence as many ways as possible, you say yes to almost everything. You don't know how to manage those relationships, and you don't know which ones are necessarily going to lead you to kind of life operating leverage. Now I'm at a point where I do have to
life operating leverage. There's a nugget. You're at a point now where what?
You're at a point now where all time is sacred, and so you want to be very intentional and make sure that everything is going to be meaningful, and that the time you're spending, even if it's for something that's self-care, like going to an amazing concert with you, that it's something that's recharging.
Subtext: we went to see Creed a month ago, and it was amazing. So,
very, very proud of that.
Yeah, I am too. Creed is amazing. They're in a great. He just played the Grand Ole Opry last week. Yeah, Creed is back. Anyway, sorry. Amazing concert with me. Or,
yeah, You Always Take Me Higher, and I think that the key.
It's a song. It's not a drug reference. Sorry.
And I think the key is being very intentional with time. So many years ago, we drafted a family constitution. So we set out with very clear intention, purpose, not just how we think about financial capital and budgeting, but looking at philanthropic capital, spatial capital, our spiritual capital. And by planning things in the future, we were really able to kind of live with purpose and set those boundaries around what mattered most.
Okay, and I want to get there. And the family constitution, I know a lot of y'all are probably pressing pause like myself in my head, but I want to get there. So again, you're a successful athlete, you're popular, you go to Davidson or Denison, where'd you? Davidson, and you play baseball in college, and you've had all these successes, and then all of a sudden you come back, you start working in finance in Dallas, and is that where you really started to master the art of time balance?
I think I led a life where I slept 4 to 6 hours since I was in 7th grade. I really wanted to thrive on life. And so I tried my best to do that through volume through relationships, volume through doing, studying, working hard. To me, grit was about time at that point in life. And it really still is to this day. So I would say it started when I was about 13 years old. And it still hasn't stopped. That's why I've got those grays you mentioned earlier.
I've got them coming in my beard. I woke up like 2 days ago. I was like, what happened over the course of the weekend? I have gray hair. So this is going to soon be shaved. So even with that, I think leadership is a blessing, and sometimes it's a little bit of a curse, right? Like you and I are the guys that's like, all right, I'll do it, right? Like, did that happen to you early on?
Always. I was generally the person that wanted to improve things around me. And I wanted to take on leadership roles, not because I wanted accolades or I needed it for my ego, but generally I was the guy that wanted to actually get stuff done. And what that led me to was the cursed part of it, because once you start becoming a visible leader, you become an accountable leader. And with all things in life, you start writing checks, you start serving on boards. Everyone now wants you to come in and help. And you have to be very disciplined in where you're going to provide the most impact.
So again, it comes natural to people like you, maybe sometimes like people like me, and you start doing this and you start building a name for yourself without, again, Kevin doesn't have social media other than, you have LinkedIn? He's got LinkedIn, but no Instagram, no Facebook, no Twitter, none of that kind of stuff, which again, it's just, he's walking the walk and he's talking the talk. And then how do you do that with work? Because obviously you've got, I want to hear a little bit about your like day job too. And then I want to get back to the family constitution. So you got into finance early on, and now kind of your day to day is what?
My day to day is managing a team of incredible leaders that serve financial institutions, primarily U.S. based credit unions and community banks and financial technology firms. By working in a consulting capacity, we're able to solve unique problems that ultimately help the underbanked extend credit. So able to tie in that kind of meaning and impact.
Translate that to someone that doesn't understand what you just said.
There's a lot of people in the U.S. that don't have adequate banking relationships, that they need finance. And this isn't a microfinance situation where you have someone in a third world country needing money for a bucket of water, but you have people that need to go out and buy everyday items that they need to live their lives, and they need advances on that through financing. And I think that the U.S. banking system is a beacon to allow people to have that credit extended to them. And in a consulting capacity, we're able to help them with pricing, help them with risk management, so that they can ultimately provide the best financial services to people that need it.
So you're serving even with your profession, and you're helping those in need, which is kind of the theme of your life, right?
Yeah, technically the business is a social enterprise because the vast majority of our revenue come from nonprofit U.S. credit unions.
So does that even further the desire to get involved in things that maybe you don't have time for, but you probably have people pulling at you, 99 times a day, and you have to learn how to say no in some sense?
Absolutely. A few years ago, I looked up and I was sitting on 8 nonprofit boards at the same time. And so now, as I've been terming out of some of those, it's allowed me to really refocus and recenter on where I can provide the best strategic value.
So what do you think the biggest challenge is for you professionally?
The biggest challenge professionally is having information distilled that is trusted from trusted sources. So, in order to make decisions fast enough, I have to connect with people like you that own a domain so that I can understand how something works fundamentally and as quick as possible. I don't have time to read thousands and thousands of pages of material or have thousands of employees send me their individual messages. I need information distilled so that I can make proper judgment.
How do you learn that skill set? Even for my own personal use, like you just have this it's so genuine and believable, but like you have this system internally that you've developed, and it gives you the ability to connect with everybody, but not have to worry about the minutia. Like what was the secret to that?
I think it's developing genuine relationships with people. And it could be something as innocuous as, you have the best hair I've ever seen in my life. And I wanted to know how you did it because I started struggling. And guess what? You got me on your hair gel plan. And I'm very
It's really
grateful.
more of like a mousse cream. But I was going to say your hair looks really good. Is it through the method?
It is.
Well, that's one day I'll interview myself and it'll be all about how I do my hair without a brush. Man, that made me cry. Thank you. So you're a learner, right? Like, do you feel like there's a point where you have to stop learning and actually, absorb the stuff that you've been taught?
I think the ability to synthesize information quickly is
inoculate. Or what was the other word? Oculus? What was the other word you just used?
Innocuous.
Innocuous. Man, yeah.
Oh,
for some reason, I'm listening to guitar in my head right now when you say synthesize, even though it's not a guitar play. Anyway, sorry. You can synthesize it.
I think synthesizing information quickly so that you're able to make judgments through data really helps, because if you think about the way that most people lose time, it's through context switching. They'll start on something, they'll be indecisive, they'll move on to the next task, they'll have to come back to make that decision. And so if you eliminate context switching in your life with activities, but also with decision and judgment, you're able to really expedite and accelerate. That's a word I like to use a lot. Like, hey, let's accelerate fun this weekend. Hey, let's accelerate this project. You start thinking about Parkinson's law and how if you leave all of this time unstructured, there's a benefit to having some of that so that you can do deep work and really be creative. But if you have too much unstructured time, you're going to find ways to fill it that don't lead to impact.
Golly. All right. Let's get back to the family constitution. So who was it, your idea, Jen's idea, both your ideas?
It was something that was important for us to gain alignment on the big things in life. And we sat down and we drafted it. And
again, I'm married. I think this is such an awesome idea. Was it just something where you're like, okay, something's not working or something's not clicking? Let's do a family constitution. If I go home with that, then Abby's going to throw spaghetti on me because it's the smartest thing I've ever said. It just wouldn't be believable. How did you get there?
By both coming together and saying we only get one shot at this life and we have limited time and we want to make sure that we optimize every minute, every second of that together. And we want to
Were you dressed in like a fancy Quaker outfit and have a big white wig on?
Yeah, I had the cane and top hat and we walked in.
Like a feather pen? Really?
Yeah, dipped it in ink and everything.
Wow. Okay, what was your name? Was it Kevin? Or
I need a good one. Time Trillionaire was something that Jen was like, hey, let's go with this.
Would that be your Constitution name?
It very well could be.
Are you one of the founding fathers of our country?
Well, if time's not linear, maybe I was. I'm not sure.
Have you seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
100%.
Okay, that's where my head is going right now. And again, there's a synthesizer. Well, Bill plays the guitar. Okay, wow, full circle. Okay, so you have a constitution. How did you draft it? Was it like with a scroll?
No, we sat.
Like, do you come home from CVS with the world's largest receipt? And you're like, I have the template.
No,
made him laugh. Yeah,
we sat together. And it's far easier for us to type and dictate. So we had electronic devices in front of us, but we talked it out through the types of decisions that we were going to make together. So one thing that everybody talks about today is experiential capital. So for us, that meant where are we going to take family on vacation? Because it's rare that we get to do that with our careers and what we're looking to do in terms of business and philanthropy. So we wanted to make sure that everything we did had long-term meaning to us and nothing was just given up for chance. So we sat down and we said, what are those major things that we need to focus on?
Before kids, or was this after your kids have been born?
We did it right before our first son was born about 8 years ago. So right before Kevin birth, we sat down and we drafted this and we look at it annually. So we have a family governance process we go through yearly, and we complete that kind of end of summer as the kids are heading back into school, just to refresh, see if there's anything that we need to modify. And it just kind of brings us back together on the same page.
So what do you call the Constitution?
It's just the Kirksey family constitution at this point. But since you're a branding genius, I am open to ideas.
I'm going to think on this. And I really like the idea of you having like a Quaker outfit with a white wig. Just think on it. And maybe the next time you do the podcast, show up with a monocle, like, and you start reading things with your little glass up here. And then I do think a feather pen at 40 is probably your new thing. I think you should just start showing up. Is it called a quill? Yeah, just a quill and like just your own ink. And don't even say anything about it. Just that's your new thing. And just start signing everything with your feather pen.
I'll start it with my Halloween costume this week and see how people take it.
Go as the Quaker Oats guy. Not as John Adams or Ben Franklin. Go as be like, oh, it's the Quaker Oats guy. Got it. I knew it. And then at Halloween at the front of the house, just have oatmeal. Just say
serve
one scoop per child, but have it already prepared. Okay, so the Constitution, again, it set up the time trillionaire and the time bandit. This guy that, again, the organization you have on the back end of just everything you're a part of is just beyond impressive. So how did that set the tone, and how did you start to integrate that into your personal life as well?
The first step we used to integrate it was the idea of time blocking to eliminate context switching. So
context switching. So explain that to me.
It's when you switch from one task to another, or you switch from one project to another without full completion.
So multitasking.
Multitasking is something that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And it was a lesson that I learned early from my parents, which was finish the task. So playing baseball, finish the drill. If you're unloading the dishwasher, unless there is a life-threatening emergency, you're going to finish unloading the dishwasher. It also helps with a psychological win. I'm a big guy about reducing cognitive weight. And if you have all of these items building up that you have to complete, it's a tremendous amount of cognitive weight to carry around. So ways to manage that through writing down those projects and just hitting them one block at a time has been really effective.
I had a girl that used to work for the real estate company a long time ago talk about the 2-minute drill. And I turned it into like the 5-second drill, where in short, if you have something in front of you, you can do it in 2 minutes or less, or 5 seconds or less, just do it then. Right. And I used to think that multitasking was a skill set, but it's not. Right. And again, you're never really getting anything done. And you've done that to a degree that is beyond impressive. So again, maybe get us inside your head as to how these processes work. Is it blocked into family, faith, text messaging? What does that look like?
All of the above. And that's why I'm one of the worst text messengers that's ever existed, because for me, a text message isn't a transaction. My goal isn't to respond to the message, clear, and move on to the next one. I want to make sure that I have thoughtful responses to people, and not in terms of needing to be witty and come back with a good joke, but really be present for those people with the quality of the response that I have. So while it may not always be urgent because I'm choosing to go through my messages at a particular point in time, and I block that out to be meaningful to all those people, that can be the downside of the way that I manage time.
He's the worst texter ever. Like I can tell him happy birthday today. Today is October 28th, and he'll respond like on Valentine's Day. Thank you. Like happy Valentine's Day. Right. And again, that's just the beauty of him, to where what in your mind is urgent? Like what things take precedent? A phone call? Like your phone is on do not disturb a lot too during the day. So
it is.
How does that work? What if there's something that actually needs you at that moment? How do you address that?
The only things that I see need me would be a medical emergency with family, and family's able to get through to my personal device. I carry a flip phone with me just in case I need to be reached, and only family has that number.
Like Cricket Mobile kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Really? Is it like your bat phone?
It's the bat phone.
Can you share that number with us today? Please. We'll prove to you how many listeners we have.
Yeah.
So with challenges, does this prevent or does this produce challenges? When your lifestyle, again, I envy it. And we all know that there's not a lot of people that are wired like this, but does that sometimes, have some challenges that come up out of nowhere?
It has a tremendous amount of challenges that come with it. First and foremost, there are people that for the relationship to work for them, they need constant attention or they need very urgent attention.
He's talking about me, and this is a jab. There's a reason he's looking directly at me you have a camera. You're allowed to look, maybe make it more to everyone else. We're going to keep that in there, but he's talking about me. I'm a needy person. That's why Kevin and I see each other once a quarter. He gets his fix and then on to the next. So there's people that need attention, that crave like the words of affirmation. Those are not your friends.
It's hard for me to exist because the volume of people that I want to have connections with, it doesn't allow me to have lunch with the same person every day. I may only have lunch with some people once a year, but I want to be able to get into deep talk with them. And we're not going to sit there and talk about sports scores and the weather. I want to hear what is most important to them. And maybe it is, and maybe I'll learn something about meteorology and local sports market. But at the end of the day, I have plans that are set out even a year in advance with people that I could see tomorrow if I wanted to, but I want to be able to afford time for everybody.
You would be the greatest politician ever because it's so genuine. Have you thought about going into politics?
I have, very seriously. It's kind of the last piece of being able to serve and do it on a civic level. So definitely within the next decade.
Really? Man, you'd be so amazing at it, and you'd be so great for politics, especially right now. I think the world is so divided, and I think that the election is in 2 weeks, next week, 2 weeks.
I'd have to start getting on social media, and I'd start having to make a following in a very different way than I have at this point.
The Quaker Oats thing, I think, could be your platform. I think that, again, imagine if like you bring America back to its roots, not make America great, like bring it back to its roots. And it's, again, the market, like you literally have like roots of oatmeal, but then also like you're just dressed as like John Quincy Adams. And like, I want to be a part of your campaign. Just please. I would like to be a part of it. Daniel Day-Lewis can play you in the movie. I already like he's a method actor. So we're gonna come back to that. Were you gonna say something?
Well, only if Christian Bale plays you in the movie and you're my vice.
Approved. Either him or maybe Ryan Reynolds in Just Friends. I have a hole in my head. Like I do have a hole in my head, but I have a whole idea in my head where we're gonna come back to. Okay, back to the serious questions. Best advice you've ever received.
Do today what others won't, so that tomorrow you can do what others can't.
Isn't that a Toby Keith song?
It very well could be.
My list: go take a little nap, go on the yard, and then go outside. That's the thing I wanted. What was it? Say it again. Are you a big Toby Keith fan? Is this a Toby Keith lyric?
I enjoy his song. Actually,
it's not his lyric.
I think it's from an anonymous source, but do today what others won't, so that tomorrow you can do what others can't. So basically, don't procrastinate. Take care of the task in front of you so that you have that time, so that if something does come up, you have the ability to take advantage of it.
How do you track all of your to-dos?
I keep a organized to-do list that's reprioritized on a weekly basis.
Like, is it a physical copy? Is it online?
It's online.
Can we have the access to that? Can we see that?
Only you.
Can I have give us the bat phone number and the login to the Kirksey chest, the Kirksey treasure. Okay, so do today what you can do. What instead of doing it, just don't say it again.
Do today what others won't, so that tomorrow you can do what others can't.
What do you want to do tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I want to have an incredible offsite meeting in business, and I want to be able to spend time with my kids when they get out of school. And then when they go back to bed, start about 3 or 4 hours of work so that I can stay on top of things and keep moving forward.
What's the biggest challenge for you? Knowing that, again, like I struggle with, like, I love being a dad and a husband so much. And I know that obviously we don't have our kids forever, like in the house, and that makes it hard to sometimes enjoy it, which is completely counterproductive to actually enjoying the time with kids. But what is the biggest challenge for you? Is it knowing that like you're only going to have lunch with me once a year? there's always something else. What does that look like internally?
The hardest thing for me internally is enjoying moments when I'm in them. And I think it's hard for me, especially because I'm sitting here with you and there's nowhere else I would rather be than spending time with you, my friend, and enjoying the next moment, because I know that I have things scheduled out for months, for a year.
And it's your birthday and you're still here. It's your 40th birthday. This is you in a nutshell. You chose to be here on your birthday, knowing that there's 1,000 other places you can be. And we were with them yesterday, and you have board meetings today too, right? Do they know it's your birthday?
I don't think so.
Probably not. That's you. If it was my birthday, be like, it's my birthday in 3 days. I'm sorry, I can't come. I have to prepare for my birthday, even though I hate birthdays. So that's you in a nutshell, right? And I feel like that that's why you need social media, right? People need to go and see that like goodness still exists. And I feel like that's just such a superpower that can't be taught. So as far as your legacy is concerned, I'm sure you think about this. You probably already had it planned out in your constitution. At 83 years old, I'm going to step. It's like, what does your legacy look like?
For me, it's not just raising my 2 boys to have high integrity and make high impact that matters to them, but making sure that those stories continue to influence future generations in the family. So thinking about impact, a lot of people focus on the here and now, and they think as a cross section of the world. Hey, can I build a well in Africa? Can I focus on local communities with local shelters or local animal rescue? But really, if you think in terms of time and your own lineage and expanding forward, that's where the real value is. So when I think about legacy, it's not about my name. It's solely about the mission that I've helped create for my family, and I hope that they continue.
Because you want to do today what you should do tomorrow, but you want to do it today instead, because if you do it tomorrow, you're procrastinating, Toby Keith. Right? Thank you very much. Let's ask a couple more serious questions. If a celebrity was to play you in a movie, who would it be?
Daniel Craig.
Oh, wow. He had that one ready. That was not a part of the prep. What's the movie called?
I think the movie would be called Time. You said Time Bandit earlier, and I kind of like that because it gives a little edge to it. And I think I have a little hidden edge. Time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. And Daniel Craig, would he have an accent? Oh, is it because he can dance?
I think Daniel Craig would play me because he has such a consistent demeanor in his drama films.
He was also James Bond.
I'm a big James Bond fan, and in no way, shape, or form do I look like James Bond. Can I pull off the tuxedo fit like Craig? But I just love.
Now he just goes by his last name. You guys are buddies, aren't you?
I mean, he's on the bat phone. He's the one person outside of family.
Got it. Daniel Craig. That's a fun fact. Talk about a habit or routine that you think contributes to your success. Obviously, you're very routine, very habitual. But if there was one that you had to pinpoint, what would it be?
The best habit and routine that's been created over the years for me doesn't necessarily work for a lot of people. So I'm happy to share with you and anyone that's listening to me.
Please.
And a lot of people will laugh at it. So I'm building.
Well, that's only if they watch this podcast. This could just be a room of us laughing. We already got there's 2 people laughing right now.
Oh yeah. This may not even be posted ever. So
no, yeah. See you in 7 months. Okay. Tell us.
So every day and every night I brush my teeth. Right. I want to take care of myself. I hope everybody else is doing that too.
That's your advice? That's the habit? Is you brush your teeth?
No.
I brush my teeth. We're more alike than you think.
No, for a lot of people, they talk about shower thoughts and things like that. For me, it's when I'm brushing my teeth, I look myself in the mirror and I ask.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. Did you sing Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror?
I can't sing and I can't dance.
Hold on. But Daniel Craig, maybe Michael Jackson plays you. We'll come back to that.
Vitiligo.
Okay. Actually, I was not going to reference that, but sorry. Okay. So you're brushing your teeth and you look yourself in the mirror.
I physically look myself in the mirror and...
Did you start crying?
It's a very somber moment for me.
Today was awful. At least I have my teeth.
No, but I truly look myself in the eyes and I ask, is today going to be a good day? Did I wake up to be average? What am I setting out to accomplish today? And then when I brush my teeth at night, I say, did I live up to those expectations? So I hold myself accountable when I'm brushing my teeth.
Can I ask you a question? Is it messy? Because if you're talking to yourself while you're brushing your teeth, I'm sure that you're frothing. And what kind of toothpaste do you use?
It's like prayer, right? When I pray, I don't pray out loud. I do it in my own head. So
You're not
I'm not.
like what's the Cujo?
Yeah,
Like
I
Jen
don't look
walks
like.
in and be like, "Don't come in. Dad is transforming again." Like the Teen Wolf of our generation. So for all you dentists watching today, I'm sure your question: how long does it take you to brush your teeth?
It's about 2 minutes.
2 minutes. And so you again, that's again the epitome of you. You're having these incredible conversations in 2 minutes or less. Yeah. And again, back to the Quakers, you're a minute man.
Minute man.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. See, I know more about history than I appear to look. Okay. 20-year-old Kevin. You're at college. You're playing sports. You're on top of the world. What advice do you give yourself?
I tell myself to not worry about very specific things that were on my mind at that point in time. At that point in time, they were my world, and I thought that they were going to be my world for much longer than they really were. And I would be able to show myself, here's the glide path, and here's where things are going to end up.
Glide path.
Dedicate more focus here.
Wow. What are your thoughts on opening a fortune cookie company, and you are just solely responsible for the little isms in there? Glide path, right? There's a business. I'd invest in that. Okay, you get to have dinner with any historical figure. Who is it and why? Daniel Craig can't go, and neither can the Quaker Oats guy because he's making the dinner. You could have oatmeal with any historical figure ever. Who is it and why?
Does it have to be a
Someone
historical figure that someone knows?
Yeah.
William Barrett Travis.
Someone knows, please. Someone knows.
Wow.
Someone that someone knows. Who is William Barrett Travis? Shout out to William Barrett Travis. Is he still living?
The famous Victory or Death, The Last Stand at the Alamo, Texas history.
Davy Crockett?
It was a big part of it.
Santa Anna?
William Barrett Travis was the one who wrote the famous letter from the Alamo asking for reinforcements, saying that he was going to hold down the fort. And when Santa Anna requested a surrender, he fired a cannon back. And I think without him, westward expansion likely wouldn't have occurred. Texas wouldn't be independent. And I think it's that level of grit and that level of sacrifice that's driven me. And I would have so many questions about why. Because at that point in time, he didn't have motivational speeches. He didn't have film. It was just him that in his own inner monologue said, I'm making a stand and this is important.
Well, my pick is Don Henley. So we can all go to dinner together and have oatmeal with William Barrett Travis. He's not living anymore, right? Okay, he died a couple hundred years ago. That's fascinating. So you also love Texas and love Texas history. So here's one of the last questions. If you could acquire a new skill, not like a sport or a musical instrument, what is the new skill and why?
Well, that's easy.
Texting, text messaging, social media?
Just for you.
What?
Unlimited range mind control.
Yeah, the people are laughing because everyone is
think about it.
Oculus synthesizing, inoculate, unlimited mind context switching. Say it again.
Unlimited range mind control. If you were able to
Isn't this a Leonardo DiCaprio movie?
It very well could be.
Unlimited range mind control.
If you could influence people anywhere at any point in time to stop the hate, stop the dissension, this world would be a much, much better place than it already is.
Social media. It starts with one follower. And then next thing you know, you have unlimited range mind control. So like brainwashing?
Yes.
But like good brainwashing. Is there such thing as good brainwashing?
Yeah, I think it's about having a positive impact. I mean, I think that I've taken away so many wonderful lessons from you that you probably have no idea.
Hair gel?
Hair gel is how deep I get.
Is that my legacy? Is hair, like I'm fine with it if it is, but that's me? That's what you've learned from me is hair product?
No, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned from you is your grit to stay passionate at all times. And I think it's so easy, even for myself, to let up just a little bit in certain days. And I see you running all of your businesses, making the impact in global communities, and just doing things on a scale that I can only dream of. And that level of motivation is something that it will never leave me. It is not lost.
That's very kind. Thank you. Okay. Well, as we wrap this up, you turned 40 today, and I'll reference a Tim McGraw song, even though it's my next 30 years. I'm going to have a little fun, drink a little lemonade, less beer. What do the next 40 years look like? Probably have it planned out. Who are you having lunch with in 37 years? What do the next 40 years look like for you?
Well, I hope we're able to have lunch in the next 37 years.
I'm busy.
Of course you are.
Yeah, sorry. Timetronic error. I'm oculated.
I really want to be able to hold a grandchild. That's the one goal that I have not checked off my
list. Do you want it
list.
to be your grandchild? Just
yes.
any, because I was like, if it's any grandchild, like you can hold me. I was someone's grandchild, and we can make it come true.
I don't know if I can hold 6'5", but
yeah,
we'll try.
I'll come sit in your lap like Santa Claus. So you want to hold one of your grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
That's it.
Are you going to give them the phone number?
They'll have the phone number. That's right. And they will have a communication device very early.
So some people have like open carry, they carry a small gun. You carry a flip phone. Man, that's amazing. The last question. How do we best support you? I want to talk about your charities. I want to talk about the stuff that excites you. And I want to talk about Kevin Kirksey for Congress.
The stuff that excites me, I feel most alive seeing music in person. And so you can best support me by continuing to be a good annual concert buddy. It's By
the way, 3 Doors Down opened for Creed, and they were fantastic.
Spectacular.
Absolutely fantastic. And I also had a long conversation with a guy over the weekend about how I love Hanson. I love Nickelback. Music, if you love it, you should listen to it. So support live music was his first ask. What else?
And then locally, if you're asking, I'd love to make a plug for Dallas Pets Alive.
Come on.
I've been board chair the last 5 years, and sadly, I term out this year. We have our large soiree this year. Dallas Pets Alive is an incredible animal rescue organization that focuses on the really tough medical and behavioral cases. Fantastic foster community, save hundreds of lives on an annual basis, and it's something that means a lot to me.
Website. We need the website.
DallasPetsAlive.org.
Okay. And then lastly, in your best British accent, a letter to Daniel Craig to play you in the movie.
You're the SAG-AFTRA member. I need it from you.
No. Okay. No English accent then. Just to Daniel, please.
You really knocked me off by getting on this one.
Please do it. To Daniel. It's his 40th birthday. This is like a real wish. Go ahead.
Daniel, my life is so incredibly important that you will never have a biopic to play as meaningful as mine. And I think that this is the way that you should end your career, is playing me. And you have to wear a maroon shirt.
Wow. Dude, you've had that prepared. Have we been recording? It'd be so bad if you forgot to press record. Man, I'm proud of you. Congrats in advance on the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Oscars, and Daniel Craig for, it just proves there's Urkel, but Daniel Craig is more than James Bond. He's more than James Bond. When you do start signing autographs, can you please do it with a feather pen?
I will only use a feather pen from here on out, just for you.
Okay, that's done. That's a contract. I'm proud to be your friend. Happy birthday, buddy. You do such a great job of lifting other people up, and hope you deserve to be lifted as well. And I want to take you higher, where blind men see, on the streets of heaven. Creed. Kevin Kirksey, everybody. Great job.
Thank you, Rogers. Love you.